I'm Jacob.
I'm Yuri.
And we're going for a drive. ...2024 Mazda CX-90.
Against the Hyundai Palisade Urban Edition.
We think that these are the most luxurious SUVs from budget brands, so we wanted to see how they stacked up against each other.
So let's start them off with the horsepower and torque.
The CX-90 has 340 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque from a mild hybrid 3.3-liter turbo inline six-cylinder. And that Palisade has 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque from a 3.8-liter naturally aspirated V6. So we got a pair of six-cylinders. Oh, this took forever to downshift.
Ah, but then
There
you're
we
gone.
go. Yeah. So sometimes this transmission, because it is an all-new 8-speed, kind of takes a while to downshift. It's relatively smooth here and there, but I've noticed it not being smooth from a stop sometimes.
And this Hyundai is familiar old Hyundai. Nothing weird, the same stuff you're used to forever.
Yeah, which is also an 8-speed traditional automatic. The Mazda has a traditional automatic, but it's like a wet multi-plate clutch. It's an all-new transmission. It's very interesting. Now, obviously, the inline six-cylinder is also all new. That is the talking point for this car, and it is really good. I love this engine.
Yeah, this Hyundai is definitely slower than the Mazda, but with these big cars, like, I don't think it really matters.
And there is a slower detuned version of the same engine available as well, which would be closer matched to that Hyundai. And there's also a hybrid, like a full plug-in hybrid, which is also very similar, even closer to that one as well. But Hyundai does not offer a plug-in hybrid or even a mild hybrid at this point.
All right, let's see if any of these cars have launch control. First, the Hyundai. And brake boost. That's kind of all right. It's kind of all right.
Auto hold, just gonna floor it. Ooh, that's pretty good, especially once you get going.
That Mazda straight up looks like a BMW when you were ripping away, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of BMW in this, especially in the interior. It feels very premium, whereas the Hyundai doesn't feel quite as premium, but also doesn't feel cheap.
The Mazda interior looks so awesome. Like, I feel like once somebody sees that in a showroom, they're automatically gonna just buy it. That's how impressive it is.
It is thoroughly impressive. What about the exteriors though? So there's a couple things going on, especially with the Mazda. The rear end, not my favorite.
Yeah, it's got that Mazda 3 kind of like big hump at the back, where this Palisade just kind of looks like a Tahoe.
Yeah, the Palisade looks really good, and we have it in the urban trim. That's why there's blackout on the grille and blacked out wheels as well.
Yeah, I do like the blacked out grille. The last Palisade we drove was the one with like the chromey grille or the silvery grille. This looks freaking awesome. Like, it looks really good. Black wheels to go with it, like kind of like a boring choice, but it's all right.
It's great as a whole package, and this Mazda definitely looks more premium, definitely more BMW-like. I really like the front end.
Yeah, they did a good job of just stylizing the same old Mazda stuff that they've been doing in every single model, because that's kind of to replace the CX-9, but also they say it's not to replace the CX-9, but it's replacing the CX-9.
Yeah, and the headlights kind of go into the grille a little bit. I think just overall, package-wise, this looks great.
The one thing is we've got the new Mazda paint, which is like their, I guess, more luxurious Crystal Soul Red metallic. It is hard to get that paint to pop during the middle of the day. It might be one of those things where it's got to really pop at sunset or sunrise.
Yeah, so they went with this artisan red, and yeah, it kind of just looks black most of the time, like this dark cherry red. It's not the greatest paint, I'll be honest. I really like Crystal Soul Red metallic much more.
And they do have like that swirl in there like they do on the Mazda 3. And I swear, sometimes when that thing is driving around, the paint and the body lines are just yelling at me. It feels like I'm looking at a hypnotic umbrella spun by the Penguin in Batman or something. Like, chill out, body lines. But I do like it because not many cars have that kind of effect.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with the body lines on this. The wheels are also really nice on this. They're kind of that typical machine cut, diamond cut black. They do look good though.
Yeah, the Mazda wheels look better. And what would be the Continental recommended tire for these SUVs?
The Cross Contact LX Sport for the Mazda and the Cross Contact LX25 for the Hyundai.
So between these two, which one do you like the looks of more?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I think The Mazda, sorry, Americans, Canadians, I'm gonna use those interchangeably. I think it does look more premium, but I think I'm still more of a fan of the Palisade.
I think the Palisade's better looking, but it's a different style and like a different taste for the Mazda. And since I already have a CX-5 and I love it, I think I will go Mazda looks. Like I'm more used to that. I'm ready for it.
And if you are shopping for either of these two vehicles or even a CX-5, go to tsp.truecar.com, discounted price offers, and see what they have in stock.
So then I guess the next, or maybe the most important thing about these two SUVs is that they are 3-row. Let's find out if we fit in each of the rows and which one has more room. Okay, knee room's good, headroom's good. It's comfortable back here.
Even for myself at 6'1.5", and we even have peasant blockers in the second row.
All right, 3rd row, tolerable for me, but I need to keep my feet together and I can't really use the armrest.
I would never want to sit back here for longer than this video takes to make.
Can you put both your feet together back there or no?
Barely. No.
Then you can fit a 3rd. Wait,
no, there's no seatbelt.
There's no seatbelt.
No, this is terrible back here for myself at 6'1.5".
It's okay, I've been in worse.
Way more room in the Palisade. I have so much knee room, tons of headroom, and peasant blockers as well.
My armrest works, but there's no center console.
For some reason, this one is currently broken. We moved these seats slightly forward. Now we have ample leg room back here.
And we can lean back with these buttons.
Oh, yeah, this wins.
And my toes aren't next to each other.
Yeah, this is so much better back here. Palisade for the win, 3rd row. So it turns out the Palisade has more room in every single row, including the trunk, while the entire vehicle is slightly shorter in length than this Mazda.
But what's nice about the Mazda is in the trunk, we've got AC power back there, 3-prong, grocery bag hangers, and we got 2 buttons, one to close the trunk and one to lock it, where this Palisade only has the trunk close button.
And there is a ton of space back there once you fold all the seats down, but still more overall in the Palisade.
And now the box test. Just kidding, we threw out all the boxes.
Yeah, we actually recycled them, sorry about that. And the next thing high up on the list on people's priorities these days, probably fuel economy between these two cars. Yuri, guess which one is more fuel efficient? This turbo mild hybrid 6-cylinder or that NA V6?
The mild hybrid one, always.
You are correct. The Mazda is 28 miles per gallon combined and the Hyundai is 21 miles per gallon combined, but that Hyundai runs on regular fuel where you have to put in premium to get these advertised horsepower numbers in the Mazda.
And we are not sure what fuel is in there right now. We have no way of for sure knowing.
And I did actually ask Mazda what the horsepower number was if you didn't put in premium fuel. It's 319 horsepower, same torque in this one. So it's still faster than if you got the detuned version of it.
And then front seat comfort, I think the Palisade is a little bit softer. The Mazda's got firmer seats, but I'm used to those firm Mazda seats from my CX-5, so I kind of like that more, or if not, just as much.
Yeah, I'm not too comfortable in these Mazda seats. They're just a little too firm for me. I sat in traffic for like an hour, hour and a half, and my butt hurt after, so unless you're that guy on Instagram with that big butt, I find the Hyundai seats way more comfortable. And we do have Nappa leather in here, whereas you can get Nappa leather in the Hyundai in the upper trim. I think it's the calligraphy that we previously drove.
And this Hyundai's got up and down lumbar to go with the forward and back, where the Mazda only has forward and back. But I feel like Mazda does a pretty good job with their forward and back. And along the lines of the material on the seat, it's the same material that would be in the middle row and with a rear-facing child seat, which fits nicely in both of them. I feel like my kids' muddy feet would screw up the Mazda interior a little more, even though it's just so impressive and I would much rather like have it and risk it, maybe put a cover down or something.
Yeah, this interior in the Mazda is so impressive. I'm not the biggest fan of this suede-like material on the dash. It looks really, really nice. I'm just really worried about cleaning it, especially with kid boogers and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, keep your kid out of the front seat. I'm sure these car companies build the things with materials that are easily cleanable, unless you're Rolls-Royce or something like that.
Well, Ferrari is known for their sticky button situations and the Maseratis and stuff, so who knows these days.
And then like you said earlier, sitting in traffic, this has highway driving assist. It worked great with the adaptive cruise and lane centering. Great time. How was your time adaptive cruising and lane centering in the Mazda?
It wasn't the best, although this is one of the better Mazda systems because it does have lane centering. That works pretty good. It's not great on like long sweeper turns, ones that the Hyundai would be able to take. However, the adaptive cruise is kind of aggressive in the safety way, whereas it thinks that cars in the other lane are the ones that are in front of me sometimes, so it brakes more than I think it should. As well as cars approaching me or me making lane changes, it always thinks that I'm going to hit someone, and it always is warning me in the gauge cluster with really loud beeps.
But it has slowed down a whole bunch since I turned all your warnings from normal down to late.
Yeah, I would recommend late as being the default option in this car, because you even saw me back up at a slight angle, still not enough to like hit a car, and it like slammed on the brakes.
It was going a lot. All right, so I want to get behind the wheel of that Mazda before we talk about the infotainments and stuff, because I am a rotary control fanboy, and I want to prove to you that the Mazda infotainment is better than this Palisade infotainment.
You can attempt to prove it to me, because I do not like this Mazda infotainment because I can't touch it while driving, but let's switch up drivers.
Hey, this is pretty comfortable. I don't feel like it's too bumpy right now.
Yeah, that one's definitely way stiffer than the Palisade. This Palisade is the softness that I want from a 3-row SUV. That one's just a little too stiff, probably better for handling, which we'll test out soon.
Yeah, through Cliche Corner. Because the Mazda's all like about that stuff, right? They want you to be one with the car, one with the whatever.
One with rider, Jinbai Tai.
Okay, infotainment. We've got the big infotainment screen. Everything is controlled by this rotary dial. We got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can go wireless as well. And when you're parked, you can touch your Apple CarPlay.
And that's the part that bothers me the most. I wish you could just touch the screen all the time like you can in this Palisade, and the distance from me to the screen in the Palisade is perfect for that.
And why the Mazda is better to me is that you can get to everything you need to with like one click of a button or one hold of a button, and you can rotate the dial until it shows up where it needs to be in your Apple CarPlay. It keeps your eyes on the road much more while driving than reaching and looking at a screen.
And since I don't own a Mazda and I don't live with one, I actually found it more distracting because I'm constantly looking at the screen rather than just being able to touch where I want to go. So there is actually a way to make the touchscreen function at all times if you use this one weird trick. After your phone's connected, you then go over here, enable this, get a warning, click accept. Now, I'm able to use Apple CarPlay while driving. Put it in drive. I can clearly use the touchscreen. Now the car's in motion. Wow, look at that.
But then there's another thing about this Mazda which is weird that I like more, is the 360 camera. The stitching has lines between it, which actually gives you more of an accurate representation of where everything is while parking, and it's very high-res cameras, where the Palisade, they just kind of blend it together, and sometimes you'll get curbs that are like from the front camera super big and from the side camera super narrow, and you just don't fully know.
And I prefer the Palisade ones. They just look way better to me, and the fact that you can rotate it around 360 just looks even more impressive. I love it.
Yeah, but impressive doesn't mean you won't scratch your rims. What the Palisade does have that this doesn't have is a camera that'll show just your rear tire, where the Mazda will only show just the front tire. And then that Palisade does not have automatic parking and Smart Park, but a higher trim that's more equivalent to this would have that.
But a cool thing that this Palisade has in this trim is I actually have cameras for my turn signals in my gauge cluster.
How many times have you actually used that in real life? Every time that shows up, I'm like, oh, this stupid feature. Like, I don't use that. I just want blind spot monitoring on my mirrors.
I'm gonna say I've used it a handful of times over the years in many different Hyundais that I've driven.
It just shows up. I don't use it. I'm never like, oh, thank God this bubble is clear. Okay, whatever. I can see why you're trying to defend that for your car. But this gauge cluster in the Mazda, full digital, so awesome, so fluid. Everything looks great. And when you turn on your adaptive cruise lane centering, it completely changes to focus on that, which is amazing.
Yeah, the Mazda gauge display is 10 out of 10. They killed it. Even when you change the drive modes, the animations between them are very fluid, very cool.
And then in the Mazda, I've only got normal, sport, and off-road, which I think is perfect. You don't really need more modes than that, do you?
Unless you're a Palisade owner and you have like basically unlimited amount of drive modes, including a towing mode, which is totally separate. And both of these can tow up to 5,000 pounds depending on how they are equipped. But back to this gauge cluster, I don't like it as much as I like the one in the Mazda.
You know what I also like about this Mazda is that you can get into the car through the door handle just by putting your hand there, where the Palisade, you actually have to click that button to get the doors to unlock and lock.
It definitely does feel much more premium in the Mazda.
Budget!
Hey man, we haven't even got to the price yet.
I don't even care. Like I have no invested interest in either of these winning. I don't know. I just, because I feel like I'm in the Mazda, I got to defend it or something.
Yeah.
Like I have no stock in Mazda, the company, just because I have a CX-5. I'm not one of those crooked car reviewers that has stock in Tesla and blow it up.
Yeah, for the record, none of us have stock in any car companies. Let's just put that out there. And next to the drive modes in the Hyundai, I actually have a very nice touch button system for PRND, and I don't like the one that's in the Mazda. I just can't get used to going from left to right to get into reverse. It's just weird.
It's yeah, from park you have to go left. I got used to that pretty quick. I don't mind it, but it definitely is a little bit strange. But it leaves for a lot of room for your cup holders, which seem to fit a small cup absolutely perfectly in the Mazda, and it's to the right of the shifter, not behind, so it's easier for you to get the cups than it would be in my CX-5.
And in the Palisade, the cup holders are that kind of impressive push button thing, although they don't really fit cups that well. There's still a lot of wiggle room, so I'm actually gonna give it a fail compared to the Mazda.
Okay, how about the visors? 3, 2, 1, pass!
Yes, we'll pass.
Fun fact, the reason we have sliding visors in this Mazda CX-90 is because of our Visor Test compilation video from a few years back. They saw it and they're like, why don't we have that in ours? Look how many do have it, and that worked. Now, one thing that this Mazda doesn't have, that Palisade has, is a heated steering wheel that heats the whole wheel.
Yeah, so Mazda, that would be greatly appreciated in the next generation of vehicles if you could just heat the entire wheel, not just the left and right parts where your hands are most of the time, but if you're going through a roundabout or something, you're doing a little hand shuffle, it's kind of annoying in the winter, not gonna lie.
My wife did complain about that in our CX-5 in the winter.
But we do have heated and cooled seats in both of these, and very easy to operate in both of these with hard buttons. The amount of hard buttons in both of these cars is very much appreciated in 2023. And then we can control our rear climate both easily in both vehicles. I love it.
Yeah, we also have presets for our seats and everything like that. Just normal good stuff, not missing anything that maybe some new electric cars like, you know, a Volkswagen ID would probably get completely wrong.
Although this particular Hyundai is missing one thing with the seat preset, is that the steering wheel doesn't move because it's a manual adjustment, whereas yours is a power adjustment.
Luxury. I don't even think it's automatic adjustment in the higher trim, is it? In the Palisade.
I don't remember, actually.
Also, every time I look away, I get a distracted driver detected. So if you hear that bring bring, that's what it is. Look, here it is.
Yeah, no, it does that a lot in that car. Not now.
Now, obviously. Ah, there it goes.
Distract
When I look
that.
back. Okay, another weird thing that you pointed out in this Mazda CX-90 is that when you change your drive modes to sport, it doesn't actually activate sport mode until the animation is done animating.
Yeah, I noticed it right away because my foot was down at the same throttle position. I changed the drive mode and all of a sudden I'm accelerating faster once the animation switches.
Okay, what other little things can we chat about before we get to Cliche Corner?
I got one. The level of luxury could be elevated in your Mazda CX-90 and every other vehicle if you go to TuxMat.com/TheStraightPipes and see what they have available for your car.
And the TuxMat in my CX-5 has been working great. I did clean them off recently and it was very easy to do. And also I have been noticing that like with this transmission, it feels like it's a little clunky, like constantly every time I get on and off the gas.
Yeah, because it's got the start-stop feature because of the 48-volt mild hybrid, and then it's kind of a dual clutch, but like officially not. So yeah, there's a lot going on with that transmission. So into Cliche Corner, I'm actually going to use my paddle shifters in the Hyundai Palisade and downshift, and they're not responding very quickly at all.
And let's see, these paddles. Did not downshift. Okay, yeah. Not the paddliest car here either. All right, Jacob, go fast. I'm going to stay on your butt.
I'm going to do best I can. Downshift, here we go. Lots of understeer, lots of body roll. Oh my God, I'm on winter tires. This is not great.
Are you a front-wheel drive system? Because it sure looks like that compared to my rear-wheel driveness.
Yeah, so we're both all-wheel drive, but yours is rear biased. Mine is definitely not, and it shows.
Dude, this is gonna eat Palisades for breakfast.
Yeah, this isn't the handliest of SUVs, especially not on winters, but I think I actually want to switch cars because yours actually kind of looked fun in my rear view.
It is very fun. All right, I guess it's my turn to try to not understeer off Cliche Corner in the Palisade.
Hey, you'll be pretty comfortable. So whatever this Mazda gives up in terms of suspension comfort on the road, I can already feel that this is gonna rip through Cliche Corner. Oh yeah, good luck, Yuri. Oh, this is amazing. The turn-in is incredible.
I cannot keep up.
This is amazing, dude. Okay, this is actually fun. Good
You're
job,
like
Mazda.
6 cars ahead of me.
Yeah, this was amazing. Wow. Okay, so you're gonna give up a little bit of comfort for stiffness, but at least you'll be able to take Cliche Corner in a lot better fashion.
Yeah, I see what they did there. Good job, Mazda. And then I guess if you want comfort, because most people aren't gonna be ripping through corners, good job, Hyundai, too.
Exactly. So I think it's finally time that we get to the price and see which one we pick.
Let's get to the price.
This Mazda in top trim costs $63,950.
Canadian.
And that Hyundai in urban trim is $53,199, a full $10,000 cheaper. There is a more expensive comparable version, so you can actually get these pretty similarly priced.
Yeah, so which one would you go for, Jacob?
Honestly, there's a lot of value in that Hyundai. I think it's the more comfortable car. I love so much more about this Mazda, but at the end of the day, I kind of just want to be in that Palisade and just chill.
As someone who's already in the Mazda ecosystem of cars, I love the rotary dial controller, I love the 360 camera, I love how everything is set up, how it works. Better fuel economy would be nice, and I love the looks of that and that cool paint when it hits just right. So I would go Mazda.
I think Mazda really knocked it out of the park in terms of making a very premium vehicle that's still affordable. So good job, Mazda, but also good job, Hyundai, because that's not a brand new car, it's just a refresh.
And I would really, really like to know how the plug-in hybrid CX-90 is, because I'm starting to think that might even be the better choice over the inline 6 for me.
I'm kind of thinking that too. As great of a car this is, it's not like Trackhawk or Hellcat fast, so that's why for a 3-row, I kind of want it to just be chill, unless it's one of those where it's like over-the-top Escalade V style.
Tune in, subscribe so you find out what we think of the plug-in hybrid when we review it.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next video.
Also, shout out some of the cast of Love is Blind Season 4 watches our car reviews. And at the end of the day, isn't that all that really matters?
Yes, other celebrities. Are they celebrities? I guess they are.
Yeah, shout out Marshall and Kwame.